Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games. Here today looking at another game in the Dungeon series by Vlada Chvátil and Czech Edition Games. These are just amazing brain-burning games, and don't let the cutesy cover fool you with the dungeon pets and the artwork and everything. This is a really brain-burning, challenging game. Definitely one I wouldn't be recommending for the classroom, just because it is of the number of pieces and everything that are in there and the length of time that it takes to play and the complexity, but is definitely one that's going to be challenging your brain in all kinds of ways. Let me talk to you about Dungeon Petz. Now, once upon a time, Dungeon Petz I actually considered to be my #1 favorite game of all time. I talked about the game so much, I think I was starting to get start to upset some people, because I just like, oh, it's Dungeon Petz, I want to play Dungeon Petz. It was so great, and it is so great. I mean, I haven't played it in a while, to be honest, but I mean, I recall the times I have played it. It's just such a good game. There's just so much going on. Like my thing for a game, I love games that tell a story, that have theme, and that require difficult decisions to be made. I want to have that thought, the difficult, agonizing choices, being, where do I go first? What am I doing here? And there's just so much of that going on in Dungeon Petz. Absolutely love it. So let me take you straight to the report card and tell you what about this game. So in looking at the number of players for Dungeon Petz, I am going to give it the B+. I mean, technically it plays between 2 to 4 players, and I do know of a solo variant that you can find on BoardGameGeek.com, and I'll put the link to that in the comments section below, or the notes section. It's good. It's a good variant from what I recall. It's been been a long time since I played it. The solo play is good enough that I'm willing to consider it and give it the B+. For learning for Dungeon Petz, I'm going to give it a B+. It's like Dungeon Lords in the same way that what you're learning is nothing curricular. There's not a lot of math in the game. There's not a lot of reading and things, because there's a lot of symbology and things that you just sort of follow what you need based on the symbols on the monster tokens on the board and things like that. There is math in terms of the addition of points, some multiplication things, but minor. It's sort of incidental. It's nothing that you're going to be let's play Dungeon Petz and improve your math skills kind of thing. But it's those puzzles that you're trying to solve, the strategizing, the figuring out how you're going to meet all the needs of your pets, because that's the big focus of this game, is just trying to make sure that all your pets are happy. Some pets are aggressive pets, and you need to make sure that they have outlets for that anger or ways to suppress them so that they don't break out of their cages. Magic pets are going to mutate, which nobody likes mutants, so they're going to get you less money when you sell them. Pets that like to eat will also like to poop, and then you have to clean the poop, otherwise they get sick. And there's so many different things. And then thinking about the customers who are coming up and what kinds of things do they want, and matching your pets to that is just this whole menagerie of things that you're trying to figure out to be successful in the game. And it's a wonderful, wonderful puzzle, and I love it. For fun, yeah, I'm going to give the game an A+. Like I said, at one time, I considered this game my favorite game of all time. So I think that kind of puts it up into that category. It's so much fun. If that's the kind of game you enjoy, with the kinds of the puzzles and the challenges and the really sort of thinky game, like I said, don't let the cover fool you. It's not a cute kid game or anything like that. This is serious stuff. Serious stuff. Yeah, and it's not for the faint of heart. All right, so yeah, but if you like a challenging medium weight game, I would totally recommend this one. So A+ for me. For time, I'm going to give it a B+. I think the game says it takes about 90 minutes. I think that with the setup and cleanup and everything like that, it might be a little longer than 90 minutes. I would gauge around 2 hours for this game if you're sitting down to play it with somebody. Like, I would rather estimate a little longer and say the 2 hours, and then say, well, it's only 90 minutes, and then it's lasts longer, because the people sometimes can get upset, or if they're scheduling time, whatever. But so it's I would say it's about 2 hours long, and to me, that's like, as you're playing the game, as long as you're enjoying it, it's things are really kind of getting going. You sort of it's the right amount of time. Any more would be too long. Any less would be just felt like it was just getting started and things. So to me, it just kind of hits that sweet spot, and I love it for that. For cost, I'm going to give the game a B+. The game, you can buy it at Level Up Games for about $55, and to me that's an excellent price for a game like this. There's a lot going on with this game, and you know, if it's the kind of game you enjoy, then there's certainly a lot of replayability in the game to just be playing this game over and over and over. And every time you're going to be playing, it's going to be different experiences, because you're going to have different monsters coming out, you're going to have different customers, you're going to have different things available. It's just going to be different every time. It's never going to be the same game twice. And so I just think that with this, you are definitely going to be getting your money's worth, and that's what it all comes down to. You know, for the $55, do you feel that you're getting your money's worth? And if you're like me, then I've definitely got my money's worth from this game. So yes, B+ for me. All right, let me take you to the table and I'll show you how this game is played. What I've set up here is a 3-player game of Dungeon Petz. Now, be sure that when you're playing, when you're setting things up, that you look for the 3 and 4 player board size. I'm trying to see here what the difference is. There's small differences in the board, but with a 3-player game, like you'll notice, it's kind of hard to see that one, but there's a little hole in the side of the square there. It's easier to see on this one here, and then there's one more up here. And those are indicating where you put those dummy players. So the red player is not playing this one. I have this set up for green, yellow, and blue. So the red player occupies those 3 spaces. That's where they're going. What you do in a 2 or 3 player game. In a 2-player game, there's even more dummy players. But this is just the setup for this one. So like I'm saying, make sure you have the right board side of that one. I'm not seeing any iconography on the board. Maybe I'm just missing it. Wouldn't surprise me if I was, but on this one, but for this one for certain, you have here's for 2 or 3 players on this one. This is a separate board. This tracks what exhibitions you have coming up and which customers you have coming up as well. Now I should actually have this customer over here too. So these are the exhibitions, these blue and white stripy things, which match down here. And that's what I love about this. There's a lot of iconography and things on here, which if you're not sure of rules, there's things that help you to remember. So blue and white stripes for the blue and white stripes. And then the customers are your overall, those are where you're really getting your points, a lot of your points and stuff. So this is the, he's called the Dungeon Lord. And what it shows here is it shows what kinds of things he's looking for in a monster. He wants monsters who are angry, with a little bit of magic, but anger is the most important one. So he wants ferocious monsters. What he doesn't want is playful monsters, and doesn't want depressed monsters, so any depression cubes on them. So these 2 things are no-nos. So how do we know about that? Well, I'll show you that in a second. So this shows here, so these icons here, so in these spaces it shows it has an imp there. So every player is putting an imp of their color in those spaces, so not in the 2, but every other space they are. And that indicates their relatives in far distant lands that they can help have come to them in the shop to help out with the store, but you have to go to the immigration office to do that. So you're starting up here, and it's going across, and this symbol here represents this thing, which is the 1st player token, which is just saying that you're going to switch that around every time you switch a turn. So on the thing here, what it's telling us is that with one thing there, you're only evaluating one of your cages, so 1 monster, 1 cage. And how fitting, getting ready for the Dungeon Lord, they're looking for angry monsters, don't want sick monsters. We're also, in the next round, you're going to have 3 vegetables available and 1 meat available, and there'll be 2 veggies and 1 meat available in the mid-supply. So for now, what we have is we have 2 veggies and 2 meat available as indicated there. And this one shows -- because in the 3-player game that I've set up for, that player starts on that space, so there's nothing available there. So this shows 2 veggies and 2 meats. And note that these veggies and meat are not something that come with the game. This is something I made myself. I used the Crayola Model Magic to make those. I like to add more theme to my games where possible, so I did away with the cubes and put in veggies and meat, and of course one of the most important resources in the game, poops. So in the game of Dungeon Pets, players are taking turns. They're vying for position to see who can get to the spaces they want to first. And there's maybe certain things that you're looking for. Of course, at some point you're going to have to get a monster, a pet for your pet store to start training it and getting it ready for the whims of the customers that are up there. So this is just a gold storage here. So let's start on this side. So you have here 3 cages which are available. And this, again, like I said, one thing I love about the iconography here is there's 2 spaces available for these. And you can see the way that this is all cut out here. This is for this section here. But because the imps who are part of the game, and these are your imps, so these are the green players' imps here. So these are the imps. And because the imps who are coming to retrieve the cage are dumb, they need to be reminded that it's going to take 2 of them to carry 1 home. So when you're putting groups of imps together, you have to make sure you have at least 2 imps in one group to take a cage home. If there's only 1 imp in a group, they can't, and that'll make more sense in a second. Here, it reminds the imps that they need to come with a gold, at least 1 gold. They can come with more than 1 imp, but there has to be at least 1 gold in the group. I mean, there can be more gold too. And so those go for any of those spaces, and these are the spaces where you'll get these pets. These are the pets that are available. These ones down here are the babies. These are the newest ones. You can tell because they only have 2 needs, 2 little sort of, not really rectangles, more like trapezoids. This one has 3, so this one's a little bit older. So you have these 3 monsters and this one available here. Down here in this space, there's 1 space available here for somebody to come. You can get one of these add-ons. These add-ons go on for the added to your cage. So this one adds 1 magic resistance to the cage, and this one adds 1 play need to the cage. So if you have a playful monster, you don't have to keep imps there to play with it. This track here is just for scoring in the exhibitions. This space here is to come and grab one of these artifacts. These artifacts can give you more cards for those particular needs. So when you choose it, you have to be careful when you choose it. Choose carefully, because if you put your book in your thing like this, you're always going to get 1 extra yellow card, which is a playful need, and then on the other side is a green, which is more hungry and pooping. So make sure you know which ones you want to get, and that's all indicated here. It shows for the different colors of cards what your breakdown is of the whole deck. So bowls are the eating, and then pooping, then a little bit of angry and a couple sickness. Red is mostly angry, a little bit of play, a little bit of eating, a little bit of pooping and sickness. Yellow is playfulness, magic, a little bit eating and pooping, and quite a bit of sickness. And magic is a lot of magic, a little bit of anger, a little bit of play, a little bit of sickness. So for example, if you get like purple cards, you're not going to have the monsters wanting to eat. There's just no chance of that. Okay, so that's how you're using those things. Coming here, this person will take all the vegetables that are available in the market right now, which is 2. This one you can grab anything that's here, but the red player's here now, so there's nothing available. And then this one is for the meat, which is 2 meat available. If you come here, this is the immigration office. You get whatever turn you're on and everything to the left of it. So on the first turn, you're only getting 1 relative back. Whereas if you wait until the end and you come here, you can get all your relatives back in 1 go, which is good because you don't get negative points at the end of the game, but it also means that you're not getting the bonus of those relatives during the game, because these can be more workers to be helping you during your game. Coming here, you're influencing the judges to push yourself up a space on the track, so you can give yourself +2. This space is nothing. These little spaces are just where the dummy player moves around on. So they're on that space right now, then they'll go to the immigration office down there, then there. So you can plan ahead for these things. Here's where you come if you want to retrieve your imps who have gone to the hospital because they were wrestling the monsters, and you have to come and retrieve them. If you don't need to get anybody, you can always get a potion, and a potion counts as a need of any color at any time. And then this is where you go onto the platform and you sell your monsters. You can put an imp here, and if it's not used right away, it goes to the side. Being up here gives you ×3 on the points in your monsters, where if you sell it on the black market off to the side, then you can only get ×2. So it's good to get up there and just leave an imp there, but then again, the sooner that you leave it there, the less use you get out of it during the game until you do start selling. So it's these, like I said, a lot of difficult choices in this game. So we've looked at the main board, which was over there. Now looking at the individual player boards, this is an individual player board, and it has, again, nice iconography here to just remind you of different things that are happening in the course of a turn, the card distribution, what you do with each of the different symbols, the scoring, and so on. And this folds up like so, because what this is to be a hidden decision that you make during the game. So everybody's going to be starting with 6 imps, and like I said, earlier, you can get more from the immigration office. But what you're going to be doing at the start of every turn is you're going to be deciding how many imps you're sending into each of these different tunnels to run different errands into the city. Are they going to be getting monsters? Are they going to be getting food and things like that? But that's all has to be decided at the beginning. And so the first player isn't always the first one to go. And sometimes one player can go multiple times before another player even gets to go, depending on how things are. So for example, it all depends on how many you're putting into the thing here. So if I put like 4 imps in there and 2 imps in there with a gold, then this is a strong start where I'm putting 4 imps. So whoever has the most imps in a tunnel goes first. So I have 4, and then I have 2 imps in a gold, so that counts as 3. So the other person might have like 2, 2, 2, 2. Well, then I'm going 4 first, then my 3 goes, and then their 2s go. I mean, that could happen. The tiebreaker is the first player token and whoever's to the left of the first player token. But yeah, so you're going to be then sending all 4 of those into one area. So if I send out all 4 of these imps, remember they couldn't go get the monster because they need a gold, so but they could get a cage, they could go get one of those artifacts, they could get food, they can go to the immigration office, they can go anywhere they want except for the monster because they have to have a gold. But the second group could go because they are carrying a gold with them. So now they count as 3 because it's 1, 2, and the gold counts as 1 for 3, but you can obviously never send a gold out by itself because the gold's not going to roll to where you want it to go. It has to be carried there. But so we can have imps doing that, but so by only having 2 spaces, I'm only getting 2 things, whereas a person who goes 2, 2, 2, 2 is going to have last choice of things, but they're going to get more choices. So right away, that's one of these really tough choices that you're making during the game. Plus which you can always keep imps back, because keeping imps back, if they don't do anything in your cages over here, which I'm about to show you in a second, then they can always go and just do some odd jobs around the city and make you another gold for every imp who does that. So the imps, well, before I go on to the cages, let me just show you here on this part. So I'm getting some glare. Let's see if I can deal with that. All right, that's better. So when you put your things here, so this is your veggies and your meat. So if I had 1 veggie and 1 meat, I put my veggies here and my meat here. At the end of every turn, these things move. So the veggie moves down 1, the meat moves down 1, and then the next turn the veggie moves down 1. But now the meat is spoiled. Meat spoils more quickly than meat, and then after the next turn the veggies will spoil if they haven't been eaten at that time. So making sure that you're eating or using those veggies and meat and at the right times and not letting yourself go without because they've spoiled on you is important. Now coming over here, this is one of the tricky parts too, where you're putting the monsters into the cages. So let's just say I got this, let's say I got this dragon one, because we have that dungeon lord coming up and he wants monsters which are magical and angry, mostly angry. So angry is red. So I look, this monster has 2 reds, a lot of green, but when I look at the other monsters there's not a lot of red that's there. So I might even just choose to not go for a monster at this time. But with the exhibition coming up too, I can maybe score some points. It's not like I'm not going to do terribly. I mean, but so in getting the monster then I have to consider his needs. So I'm going to get 1 green card and 1 red card. The red card means he's going to be violent and try to break out. This cage can resist 1 violence. The green means he's probably going to want to eat, or maybe he's going to poop. Not sure. So that, but it shows me here that this monster is a carnivore. So I'm going to need to make sure I have meat if this monster is going to eat. Every player is going to start with a deck of cards here. They're going to have one of each color. So I know when I'm looking at mine right away, I can deal with the one red because I've already got one. The cage has one strength here. And he's going to have one green need as well. So the green need is sickness. And as long as there's no, if there's too much poop in the cage, then sickness will make the monster depressed. So I can let him be a little bit sick. That's fine. Not a problem. That way I don't have to feed him. I don't have to worry about poops in the cage. That works out nicely. And this is just the first turn as well. So in the first turn, there's not even going to be any exhibition or anything, because in the exhibition, it said that the sickness was a no-no. So I don't want him. So better to get that sickness out of the way now. Now you'll notice too here that this green card also has, on the reverse side, they have sickness with a bowl. And that is an advanced thing. So when you're ready for it, you can play with that advanced side, so you can treat it as both of those things, and which can sometimes work to your favor. So, but notice here, like yellow is normally play, but this one's poop. But in advance, he's playing with his poop. But so in this one, then, so I could know I could meet those needs. Now, when time comes, I'll also be drawing one extra card of each color for what I have there. But I know I've already got my needs taken care of, so I'm not too worried about anything else for that one. So in planning that out, if I got that monster, then I'd just be looking at other things and maybe sort of thinking of the future of what are the things I'm going to be needing. Maybe getting some veggies and meat just for the future, just in case. Maybe thinking about pushing myself ahead on the track here to give myself an edge in the exhibition. Maybe getting another cage. Maybe something with a little bit stronger. So some of these ones have stronger cages with better needs. So this one is 2 with 1 magic. This one gives a free vegetarian meal and absorbs 1 poop per turn. So lots of different things in here going on in the game. So many decisions to be making, and that's why I say one of the reasons I love this game so much. And so like I said, that is just really a quick overview of what's happening in the game of Dungeon Petz. So Vlada Chvátil in these dungeon games that he has, Dungeon Lords, Dungeon Petz, I found Dungeon Petz first and played it and loved it, and then that's what kind of got me curious about Dungeon Lords, and I thought, well, is it going to be as good? Am I going to be disappointed? And I did a lot of research before I finally dove in, and I bought, like I said, I bought the whole Happy Anniversary Edition because I thought, yeah, I'm going to like this game for sure, and I did. So I was happy with that. I just think that these are great, and there's like a lot of content out there on Board Game Geek, which people adding different things. There's different monsters that I found, like Bob the Blob is in there in my set here. That is something that I found online somewhere, I think on Board Game Geek, and so there was extra content that was created as well. And there's one thing I would love to be trying at one point where you're playing with 8 players. So 4 people are running the pet stores, 4 people are running the dungeons, and so you're playing Dungeon Petz, Dungeon Lords at the same time, and the people from the pet stores are supplying the people in the dungeons with their monsters, and it just sounds wild, sounds brilliant. So I'd love to try that at some point too. But these games are really thinky games. Like I said, the rule books are hilarious, the artwork is really cute and things, but don't let that fool you. The games are really thinky games, really brain-burning games, and we're going to challenge your mental faculties because there's a lot going on here. Fun games though, so much fun, and I do highly recommend them if you like that kind of game. I'm hoping to next week finish off that Dungeon Lords playthrough that I've been working on. I haven't finished it yet, and so wanted to get this one out so that way I'm getting my video out for this week. But we'll look to get that Dungeon Lords video out as soon as I can, showing you how the solo play of that is done, and then maybe I'll do a solo play of this one as well, just showing you how Dungeon Petz is as well. You know, you saw a little bit of how it looks during my taking it to the table, but you know, seeing a whole game in session might be a fun thing too. We'll see what we can do. And that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Until next time, I'm Craig Thompson Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me?